You have so much potential inside you, but without the right habits, life can feel overwhelming. Juggling work, health, relationships, and still trying to make space for yourself. Some days, it feels like you are just surviving, not really living. Becoming the woman you want to be, calm, confident, energized, and grounded doesn't happen overnight. It is the result of small intentional habits you choose every single day. So today, I want to share the habits I live by and the science behind why they work. For a long time, my days off didn't actually feel restful. I finished them feeling very busy, slightly behind, and not very satisfied. Even though I technically have free time, what I actually realized is that rest and rest don't happen automatically. They need structure, but the right kind of structure. This video isn't about a perfect routine or copying someone else's lifestyle. It is about how I use my day off to support my brain, my energy, and my sense of directions. Hi, I'm Bear. I'm interested in psychology, behavior, and building a life that feels steady rather than fantasy. The first thing I do on a day off is pen. Not because I want to be productive, but because my brain needs containment. Practically, this looks like sitting down with a notebook and doing a full brain dump. I write down everything that's taking up mental space, errands, emails I have been avoiding, ideas that I don't want to forget, even virtual worries. Psychologically, this works because externalizing information reduces cognitive load. When your brain doesn't have to keep holding everything, it can finally stand down a little. Then I organize the list using a simple priority framework, separate what's urgent from what's actually important. For example, replying to one specific emails or booking an appointment may matter more than 10 low-status tasks that just feel busy. Once I've done that, I don't keep revisiting the list. The plan exists, so my mind doesn't need to loop. The result isn't packed with schedule, it is mental clarity. I used to treat exercise optional, especially on a rest day. Now I see it as neurological support, and that shift is grounded in research. Regular physical activities has been consistently linked to increased BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factors, a protein involved in learning, memory, and neuroplasticity. Higher BDNF levels are associated with better cognitive performance and emotional regulations. Research in cognitive neuroscience also showed that exercise improves executive functioning, things like attention control, planning, and flexible thinking. Those are exactly the skills that tend to feel depleted when life feels chaotic and overwhelming. In practice, this doesn't mean intense workout. On a day off, I may do a short number of sessions at home, simple controlled movement for 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes it is just enough to raise my heartbeat slightly and reconnect with my body. Even light or moderated movement has those effects. For me, the biggest change is mental. I think more clearly, react less impulsively, and feel more psychologically available for the rest of the day. Reducing decisions fragile through preparations. By the end of the week, decisions fragile is real, including decisions about appearance and self-care. So on my day off, I reset those things in one go. In practice, this looks like designing a few things in advance. I will choose what I'm going to wear for the next few weeks, pack my work bag so it's ready to go, and roughly plan what I'm going to eat. Nothing visual, just enough structure to remove unnecessary decisions. This isn't about aesthetic or professions, it's about reducing frictions. When I'm not deciding what to wear, what to pack, or what to eat first thing in the morning, my mental energy is freed for more meaningful work. Psychologically, this matters because chaotic, low-level decision-making drowns our tensions and increase stress over time. By front-loading these decisions on a day off, I protect my cognitive capacity during the week, especially on a day when my bandwidth is already limited. The result is calmer start to the day and fewer invisible structures competing for my attentions. Learning that strange the brain. One habit that make a big difference for me was replacing passive consumptions with intentional learning, and this is closely tied to how neuroplasticity works. In practice, this means choosing something small and specific to learn. For example, I may spend 15 to 20 minutes on Duolingo, working through a new language lessons, or for a short class that challenged me creatively. Neuroscience research shows that the brain remains plastic throughout adulthood. Novelty, challenge, and focused attentions all simulate neutral reorganizations. It is the attempt to learn, not mastery, that matters. I'm not trying to be fluent or perfect. I'm giving my brain something active to engage with instead of scrolling. This shift alone changed how my day work feels, from lumbering to constructive. Gentle stimulations instead of over-stimulations. On day off, I'm more intentional about stimulations. I still like caffeine, but I choose options that support calm focus rather than sharp spikes and crashes. For me, that may look like a matcha or a smaller coffee earlier in the day, instead of multiple strong coffees spread out. It's not just caffeine, I also pay attention to digital stimulations. For example, I try not to start the day with immediately scrolling on social media, checking messages. If I need background noise, I will choose something steady, like music or podcast, rather than jumping between apps. From a psychological perspective, this is about nervous system regulations. When stimulation is smoother and more predictable, attention is easier to sustain and anxiety is less likely to escalate. The goal isn't to eliminate stimulations, but to avoid overwhelming my system. When I get this right, I feel more settled, less reactive, and more able to enjoy my day off without feeling weird or restful. Midday regulations. Instead of pushing through, my energy drops or my anxiety raise. I don't override anymore. When I actually do is pause for a few minutes. Most of the time that looks like a short, very simple meditations. Nothing complicated. I'll sit down, set a timer for 5 minutes and focus on my breathing. I'm not trying to clear my mind, I'm just noticing the breath going in and out. Other days it might be a brief body scan, mentally checking in from my shoulders down to my feet, or stepping outside for a few minutes without my phone just to let my nervous system settle. Short periods of mindfulness like this have been shown to reduce cortisol and support prefrontal regulations, the part of the brain responsible for perspective, emotional control, and decision making. When stress is high, the system goes offline. Pausing helps bring it back. The pause also gives me information. If I notice I'm avoiding something because I don't have the skills yet, I make a plan to learn them. If it is just automatic self-doubt or anxiety loss, I don't reinforce it by engaging. That distinction between a real skills gap and habitual self-criticism have been really a game changer for me. And in the day on purpose, because I already addressed what matters earlier, I can actually switch off in the evening. In practice, this means I create a clear end today. For example, I will spend a few minutes journaling, not to analyze everything, but to close mental loops. I may write down what I have done, what can wait until tomorrow, or 1 or 2 thoughts I don't want to carry into the evening. This small act signals to my brain that the day is contained. There's nothing left I need to hold or solve right now. Psychologically clear boundaries like this support recovery. Ruminations decrease, sleep quality improve, and the nervous system has space to reset. Rest isn't a reward for productivity, it is a requirement for functioning well long term. When I treat it that way, switching off stops feeling lazy and start feeling responsible. Connections as regulations. I also prioritize connections, and this is one of the most robust findings in psychology. Social connections is associated with increased oxytocin and reduced stress response. Large-scale psychological and academical studies consistently show that meaningful relationships are protective for both mental and physical health. From a nervous system perspective, feeling socially safe helps regulate emotional arousals. Persistence matters more than quantity. It is the sense of being understood or attended to that has the strongest effect. In practice, this may be something very simple. On my day off, I would make time to actually talk to my partner, not while scrolling or multitasking, but properly checking in. Sometimes it is a walk together, sometimes it is just sitting down and talking about the week. I also don't underestimate the power of physical comfort. Hugging my cat, sitting with them, talking to them, those moments of calm, affectionate contact really help my nervous system settle. It is not about deep conversations or constant interactions. It is about persistence and safety. That's why connection is part of my reset, not an afterthought. The routine isn't about becoming someone else. It is about creating conditions where your mind works with you instead of against you. Small intentional habits repeated consistently can change how your life feels from the inside. If you'd like to see more psychology-informed content like this, you can subscribe. I will see you in the next video.